Hello. In this video, we will learn how to plan for the new year and how to track the execution of our plans and goals throughout the year. We will need some simple tools: a new notebook, preferably spiral-bound, but it's not required, a pen, and a ruler. These are the necessary and sufficient tools. However, if you have colored pens and sticky notes, the process will be more enjoyable and special. But it's not a requirement. The colored pens and sticky notes are not necessary. Prepare your favorite drink and enjoy planning for a new year that, God willing, will be one of the best years of your life. Let's start with the first step. The first step is to define the year's goals. We first need to define our goals for the new year with precision and clarity. Take any blank sheet of paper and draw a vertical line down the middle. On one side of the paper, write down all the goals you hope to achieve in the new year. With a maximum of 10 goals, don't write more than 10 and preferably fewer. In fact, we will filter these goals further in a little while. However, it's important before you start writing your goals to know that there is a difference between goals and dreams. There is a famous method for writing goals called SMART goal setting. The idea is that each letter of the word SMART represents a necessary characteristic that the goal must have. Generally, we will summarize all of this into 3 main points. The first point is that the goal should excite you, but be realistic. The goal you set should make you enthusiastic and eager to achieve it, but at the same time, it must be realistic and achievable. For example, your goal can't be to not get fired from your job this year. That's not a goal that makes you wake up in the morning excited to achieve. At the same time, your goal can't be to become Spider-Man. True, it's an exciting goal, but it's not realistic. If a spider bites you, you'll likely get poisoned, not gain the ability to climb walls. The second point is that the goal should be specific and measurable. Your goals should not be vague or too general. For instance, don't just say, "My goal is to lose weight." It's better to say, "My goal is to lose 20 kilograms." Don't say, "My goal is to read more books." It's better to say, "My goal is to read at least 1 book every month," and so on. The third point is that the goal should be time-bound. For every goal you set, you must define the time frame in which you plan to achieve it. You can't just rely on the new year as a whole as the deadline for all your goals. Surely you don't plan to achieve all your goals on the last day of the year. A specific goal might need to be achieved before the middle of the year, or on a specific month and day of the year, and so on. Let's give some examples of goals that fit all the criteria we've mentioned. My goal is to save a sum of £10,000 before the middle of the year. My goal is to practice running for 2 hours every week, and so on. I think the idea is clear. Write down your goals for the new year on the paper, as we said, and if you watch the video to the end, I'll tell you about important solutions to problems you're expected to face in achieving your goals, like the disappearance of enthusiasm, weak willpower, being distracted, and procrastination, among others. Let's get back to planning. After you've written all the goals you wish for, I want you to look at the list and ask yourself this question. If you knew that during the entire new year, you could only achieve one single goal from this list, which goal would it be? The goal you choose, write it on the other side of the paper and cross it off the original list. Then repeat the same question with the remaining goals and write the goal you chose on the second half of the paper, and so on, so that in the end you have 3 goals that are the most important 3 goals for you in the new year. The advice here is to stick to these 3 goals and focus on them. And hey, if things go well and you find you've accomplished these 3 goals, there's no harm in adding more goals later. An exception here is if the goal you want to add, in addition to the 3 main goals, is a simple goal that can be achieved in 2 weeks or less. Then you can add it. But try not to add more than 3 simple additional goals. Spreading your effort across many goals might prevent you from achieving any of them. Great. We have now defined our goals for the new year. Let's open the notebook and plan. On the first page, you can write your name, phone number, and email as contact information in case your notebook gets lost or something. You can also write a quote you love, a verse, or a turn the page, and the second paper here will be the page for the year's goals that we've set. Write a title for the page that expresses its content, like 2018 goals, or my goals, or anything. After that, you'll write the goals you've defined in the previous step. Write your goals according to their importance, and you can distinguish each goal with a color or a method you like. My advice here is if you have sticky notes available, use them instead of writing your goals directly on the paper, like this. The idea here is that there's a high probability you'll change some of these goals over time. This is because life is dynamic and full of changes and circumstances. You might have to give up a goal or replace it with a more important one, and so on. So instead of scribbling over old goals and messing up the page's appearance, you can simply remove the sticky notes or replace them. Anyway, we've written the year's goals. Let's turn the page. On this page, we will write the month's goals. Our first month, of course, is January, but if you're watching this video late, no problem. Start with the month you're in. Avoid procrastination with the excuse that you didn't start from the first month. We will set the month's goals based on the year's goals we've already set. Follow these tips. Is there a goal from the year's goals that is specifically tied to this month? See what portion of the year's goals you can accomplish and set it as a goal for the current month. Of course, you don't have to do a part of every year's goal during this month. You can focus on one of the year's goals for the entire month, if possible. And as we said, the year's goals might be tied to specific dates during the year, not spread out over the whole year. As much as possible, work on your goals sequentially, not in parallel. This is to avoid scattering your energy and focus among many goals. Write the month's goals you've set here, or as we said, you can use sticky notes. The advantage of the sticky notes for monthly goals is that you can easily move a goal from one month to the next if you don't manage to finish it in the current month. Great! Now we've set the month's goals. Let's turn the page. After the monthly goals, every two facing pages will represent a full week of the month's weeks. With a pen and ruler, divide each page into 4 equal parts. Each square will represent a day of the week. Of course, there will be an extra square, which we will talk about later. Choose a fixed order for the week according to your work and life circumstances. What does that mean? Some people consider Saturday the beginning of the week and Friday the end. Others consider Sunday the first day of the week and Saturday the last. It doesn't matter. The important thing is to have a fixed and continuous order that doesn't change from week to week. I prefer the first day to be Saturday and the last day to be Friday, despite my work week starting on Sunday. A note here, whatever order you choose, you will face a small problem, which is that the beginning of the month doesn't necessarily align with the beginning of the week. What should you do? Simply attach the week to the month where most of its days fall. For example, January 1, 2018 will be a Monday, and I said my week starts on Saturday. No problem, I'll start from the Saturday, which is December 30th. It's totally fine. Be flexible. If you're asking why not just stick to the days that belong to the month we're planning for, it's because the week represents a complete cycle of work and rest, giving us a chance to evaluate the work done and plan for the next week, and so on. The important thing is that in each square for each day, you will write the name of the day and the date next to it. In each square, you will briefly write the tasks you're supposed to do on that day, whether they are part of your goals or your general responsibilities. You don't have to define all the tasks for the whole week at once. That's very difficult and sometimes impractical. But you can start with any appointments or tasks you already know and are sure of beforehand. Otherwise, you can add tasks for each day on the morning of that day. The important thing is in each square for each day, try to write the tasks briefly and leave an empty space below to write something important. Try to write in this space any positive thing that happened to you during the day. It could be a small achievement you made, good news you heard, or a new piece of information you learned. Anything positive, but it must be positive. I promise you, if you maintain this habit and after 2 or 3 months you pick up this notebook and browse through it, reading the things you've written, it will make you feel very happy. You'll feel that you truly lived those 2 or 3 months in a worthwhile way. And if you continue until the end of the year, I promise it will be a year you'll never forget. If you feel that the space in this square is not enough for the day's tasks and the positive thing, you can simply use a larger notebook or simply give each day half a page or even a full page. Then you will just need a notebook with a large number of pages to last the whole year. Or, of course, use more than one notebook for the year. The last thing I want to say here is that there are 2 tasks I want you to add as soon as you start planning any week. On the last day of the week, your day off, you will add 2 things. 1. Review and evaluate the current week. You can write your evaluation briefly in the last square. This is a very important step to learn from your mistakes and improve yourself continuously. 2. Plan for the next week. After evaluating your current week, you start planning the next week in the same way. And if it's the last week of the month, you set the goals for the new month just as you did for the previous month. And so on until the end of the year. May God grant us and you blessings in our time and work. Naturally, you will face obstacles on your way to achieving your goals, such as procrastination and stalling, weak willpower, or being impatient for results, or not being able to maintain the habit of follow-up and self-evaluation continuously. Fortunately, we have already made detailed videos to solve all these problems, and we solve them based on the best international books in the field of self-development.